Hello everyone, my name is Devashish Roy. I'm the Head of Training and Development at the Indian Cybersecurity Solution, and I welcome you all to this special webinar today. And today's topic is a very important one for the AWS cloud security, that is Amazon EC2 security. EC2 is the Elastic Compute Cloud. That is the virtual machine or the virtual instances that we see in the Amazon. So what is EC2 and how to make it secure? So let's begin. So we're discussing Amazon EC2 security, what are the best practices and strategies for this. And there will be comprehensive guidelines and techniques that will be discussed to ensure robust security for Amazon EC2 instances. Now, what is Amazon EC2 security? First of all, what is EC2? EC2 is the virtual PC or the virtual machine, and it is a cornerstone of cloud computing. So everything that you can store in the cloud, you need to have the EC2, because without the virtual machine you cannot store anything. You cannot store your files, folders, your website even you cannot store. Yes, you can store it in S3 bucket, but there is another feature, that is EC2. And it provides scalable computing capacity on demand. However, with this flexibility comes significant security challenge. Means definitely if you are launching an EC2 instance, there should be some security aspects there. So that is very important, and it necessitating comprehensive security strategies to protect data and resources. So we have to understand the EC2 instances and their vulnerabilities. Now there are diverse EC2 instance types. Now, like if I tell you the instance types, there are, say, the reserved instance that you can reserve for years. There are spot instances that you can use as a, say, as a bidding purpose. So if you are not using an instance for quite some time, then what happens that AWS is actually lowering the cost for that instance, and it is like the spot instance. Now, common attack vectors we have to understand also, because the EC2 instance can be prone to the outside network attack and configuration security impact. So if it is attacked, how to mitigate that, how to actually prevent that attack, and to how to secure it. Then what are the key security features of Amazon EC2? First of all, security groups control traffic. So you have to maintain the security groups or the network ACL, NACL, and that is very important. That is a firewall rule that you have to make, so that the outside attack cannot be there, and there should be authorized access to the EC2. Then there can be key pairs for authentication. So there are two key pairs. One is the public key, that is for the sending data, that is encrypting, and private key for decrypting. Actually we use the private key to connect to the EC2 instance, so that is very important. Virtual private cloud VPC isolation. So if you are using the default VPC of the Amazon, so that is you can use, but you can customize your VPC also. You can use your own VPC. I can make an own VPC with their customized IP or the network IP address. That also can be done. And elastic load balancing for resilience. So you can deploy the load balancer to mitigate the DDoS attack or other attacks also. Then what are the best practices for EC2 security configuration? Now we have to regularly update and patch the instances. So like the Windows or Linux or any other vendor, they release the security patches. So in cloud also, you have to make sure that EC2 instances are regularly patched. Now it will download the regular updates, because there is maybe some defect, some loopholes. So definitely you have to update the instance regularly. Otherwise, there can be some security attack. Implement least privilege principle. Means if you want to give the user only the read access, do not give the full control. Enable multi-factor authentication of the MFA for more security. Conduct regular security audits. Now definitely security audits should be conducted, so that we can get more information about the EC2 instances. And regularly review security group rules. So security group rules or the firewall rules also should be regularly reviewed. Then security groups are the stateful and instance level control. It gives the control, that is controlling the inbound and outbound traffic for instances. And they are associated with specific instances and can be easily modified to adapt to changing security needs. So security Groups are like you are say controlling the RDP access for the Windows or SSH for the Linux. So you can do it using the security groups. And network ACLs are stateless, means security group stateful means it maintains the connection state. But network ACL doesn't maintain. So every time you have to tell him that block the destination. So it doesn't have any log. That is the stateless. And it gives a subnet level control. Means network ACL stateless firewalls that operate at the subnet level within a VPC, and it provides an additional layer of security by allowing or denying incoming and outgoing traffic based on specified rules. So NACL can be used to control traffic for multiple instances within a subnet. So it is greater than the security group. Security group is only say it is working on the RDP, SSH, these protocols, but network ACL, it is working on the subnet itself, the entire network. Now, what is the identity and access management IAM for EC2? That is a very important part for EC2. IAM is crucial for controlling access to Amazon EC2 resources, and it ensures only authorized users and applications can actually interact with sensitive data and services. Nobody else can connect to the EC2 instance. And it includes features like rules, policies, and groups that help define permissions, and also it enhances security compliance. Then what about the monitoring and logging for EC2 security? So you have to implement a robust monitoring and logging strategy that is essential for detecting and responding to security incidents. Now, first is enable CloudTrail, like the CloudWatch. You have the CloudTrail actually for the API activities and the applications. So set up the CloudTrail to log API calls for account activity, for tracking and compliance reporting. That is a very good way to do the cloud security. Number two, utilize CloudWatch and monitor the instance performance metrics, means the hardware metrics, and set up dashboards to visualize data for easier analysis and access. Third is configure alerts, implement alerts for specific events or thresholds to proactively respond to potential security threats. So you have to configure the alerts also, some warning levels also you have to configure. And regularly review logs. So establish a routine for reviewing logs to identify any unusual patterns or behaviors or unauthorized access. So these are the methods to maintain the EC2 security. Monitoring data, you have to combine the AI, you have to combine the security, everything you have to combine to make it a proper cloud security in the EC2 instance. Now, what are the data protection strategies in EC2? So you have to implement robust data protection measures, and it is crucial to safeguard sensitive information in Amazon EC2. Like 90% of data breaches are related to insecure data storage. So you have to make sure that data storage is secure one. And also 256-bit encryption is used by AWS KMS for data security. Now, 3 copies of data are maintained in different availability zones for redundancy. So if you are actually launching an instance, do not think that the copy of the instance database is maintained in only one AZ. No, but for the redundancy, it is maintained in different AZs, 3 AZs. Now, incident response and recovery in EC2. There is a structured approach to manage security incidents effectively in Amazon EC2 environment. First is preparation. You have to establish an incident response plan, including roles, responsibilities, and communication protocols. Second is detection and analysis. So you have to monitor systems using AWS tools to detect actually anomalies and gather data for analysis. And containment, eradication, and recovery. So implement containment strategies to limit damage, eradicate threats, and begin the recovery process. So this is actually if some security breach has happened, so you have to mitigate that. Then post-incident review, you have to analyze the incident response process to identify lessons learned and improve the future response efforts. So this is about the theoretical aspects of the Amazon EC2 security level. And now I would like to take you to the, say, the browser and that is a console of the EC2. And here if I go to the EC2, you can see that is the EC2 instance. Click on the instances and you have to click on launch instances. Now there is Windows instance, Ubuntu, Mac, Amazon Linux, SUSE Linux, even Red Hat Linux, different instances are there. So I'm choosing now Windows instance. And this is a free tier eligible instances that you can see Windows Server 2025 base. Some instances are not free, so you have to choose it wisely, the free instance. And you can see all of the AMI and is a 64 bits x86 indeed. Everything you can see the Amazon AMI ID. Instance type, either you can take T2.micro or T3.micro, and you can see the memory, the pricing for the on-demand Linux based pricing, Windows. So they are showing every pricing here. Now, in case of key pair, that is for security part, you have to select a key pair or you have to create a new key pair. So let's say I'm creating a new key pair and give a key pair name. This is 555. This is a name, and it is encrypted with the RS algorithm. Create key pair. And now the network settings, that is the default network you're having, and the subnet. The subnet, you can prefer the availability zones, but I'm not preferring. And auto assign public IP is enabled. So you have to make sure that the auto assign public IP is always enabled. Otherwise, you cannot connect to the EC2 instance because we connect through the public IP. And now the firewall or the security groups. That is the one that I was looking for. Firewall of the security groups, that is very important. Now we have to allow RDP traffic either from anywhere, or you can customize means to from which IP you are going to connect, and or you can say my IP. So this is a public IP that is given by the AWS to me, and I can connect through this IP. But I will choose anywhere for now because otherwise it may be some restriction. But in a production environment, you should not choose anywhere because then it will be exposed to the entire world for the attack. You should choose your customer's IP or a particular IP. Now you can allow the HTTP, HTTPS, any traffic. For now, I'm only allowing the RDP. And now you have to configure the storage. By default, it is 30 GB storage that is available. And you have to launch the instance. So it is launching the instance. You go to the instance again. So it is running and its status is initializing. And if you select the instance, you'll see all the details, the instance ID, everything you can see, the subnet ID, everything, it is visible. Here you can see the key name that we'll use to connect to the instance. It is being initialized. So it will take some time to do the status check. And when it would be Status check completed, then we can connect to the instance. Still, it is initializing and it is checking its health. So some health checks or the performance checks are done so that the hardware and all applications are working perfectly. And I'm in the US North Virginia region. You can also change the region and the AZ. Current AZ is US East 1A, and this is my public IP and the public IP for DNS. Yes, now you can see the status check is completed, 3 by 3 checks passed. Now select this and now you can connect to the instance. You have to give the RDP client, and connect using RDP client. You have to get the password and you have to upload the private key file. That should be this in the downloads. Open that and decrypt the password. So this is the password. Just copy this, download the remote desktop file, and you keep it. You just open that. So it is, I think it is blocked or something like that. I can download that again. So it is in the, say it is actually in the Internet Explorer, the Edge, the high security, it is preventing the file from opening. So what you can do, I can also copy it in the Chrome. It is again want me to log in or something like that. So maybe if I copy to the, but anyway it is not allowing it. So you have to anyway change the settings of this Internet Explorer browser or any other browser to actually allow you, or otherwise you have to again select some other like this browser. Like again you have to sign in to here, and again you have to launch the instance, because here it is actually showing you some error informations like it is not a control blocked a file that may be unsafe. So it may be that some extensions are actually included here, and so that these extensions are not allowing. So maybe this is an issue instance. Sometimes you can get this informations in different AZs. So in the AWS, they have some issues or some maintenance tasks is going, or maybe there is a browser issue. So it may be I have to see whether this issue is there, because otherwise in normal cases you do not get this type of informations. And you can click on this and you can actually learn more of the smart app control. So this is actually, they are identified, they are changing their features every now and then, the AWS, and that is why it is actually the Windows security app vulnerability that automatically blocks files. So this, you have to check the extension, and you have to actually, I think, download some appropriate browsers and some extensions to actually launch your EC2 instance. But anyway, that EC2 instance can be definitely launched once you download the extension and you connect to the browser. Then you'll see that Windows 2025, that server will be actually, you can see it running. So that way we can actually launch the EC2 instances in the AWS, and we can also secure the instances that I have already told you. With the instances, you can have the security group. That is the main part. The security group, this is the main thing for actually the AWS, the EC2 instance security, where you can actually control the RDP and SSH access. You can go to any security group, and here you can check the inbound and outbound rules. So this is the main thing, that if all traffic is allowed in the outbound rule or in the inbound rule, the RDP is allowed, because if the RDP is not allowed, then you will get the error. But here it is allowed, but you can allow the other traffics like ICMP, all traffics you can also allow there. So these are the security parameters of this Amazon EC2 security that I have discussed with you today. And I have shown you the things practically, and also I have discussed theoretically the aspects, the different aspects of this AWS security. And I hope it was very informative for you, and it is very important for your AWS Solution Architect Associate certification. And I have a very good news for you. I have made a questionnaire that is having the 10 questions, and if you can give at least 8 correct answers of questions, you'll be eligible for a certificate. And just think about it, it is a very great opportunity. And also, you should enroll yourself right now so that you can have a 10% flat discount for today. So that is about the webinar on AWS Amazon EC2 security for now. And I hope that you have got an immense knowledge from this webinar. And also, you will be able to incorporate these skills for your certification goals and in your enterprise networking. So that is about the Amazon EC2 security for now. I thank you all for joining and watching this webinar once again. I will come with some new topics next time. Till then, keep studying and bye.